Have you ever wondered why some women walk through storms but never sink? Why they're attacked without cause, isolated without explanation, yet rise with unshakable grace? Today, we pull back the veil on the divine mystery behind what sets these women apart. Not by title, not by appearance, but by heaven's hidden fingerprints on their lives. These marks aren't visible to the world, but they're recognized by the Spirit. They're not badges of status, they're signs of selection. Get ready to discover why some women aren't just surviving life, they're being sculpted by it for something greater. This isn't just a video, it's a revelation. Let's begin. Divine discontent. The holy Itcha, chosen woman, often finds herself feeling uneasy, even when everything around her looks perfect. She might have success, comfort, love, and praise, yet something deep within her whispers, "This isn't it." This isn't because she's ungrateful or dissatisfied. It's because she was made for more. She carries a divine discontent, a holy itch that won't let her settle. Hebrews 11:13 calls her a foreigner on earth. That unrest isn't a flaw, it's her compass. Like Esther in the palace, surrounded by luxury and favor, she knows deep down that comfort isn't her calling. The ache in her soul isn't anxiety, it's assignment. It's a divine stirring. Just like the eagle is nudged from the nest, forced to stretch wings it didn't know it had, God allows that sacred discomfort to move her into destiny. She isn't called to settle in shallow places. She was born to soar. This ache is a holy push, an internal call that keeps her in motion, pursuing her purpose with passion and perseverance. She feels the world's pain. There's something different about her heart. She cries for people she's never met. She grieves over injustice she hasn't experienced. Her spirit trembles with burdens that seem too heavy for one person to carry. But this is the price of spiritual sensitivity. Chosen women carry heaven's heartbeat. They're the ones who intercede at 3 a.m., who feel storms before they break, who sit quietly in rooms and sense atmospheres shift. John 11:35 tells us that Jesus wept, not because he was weak, but because he felt. He carried the weight of the world's sorrow in his spirit. Likewise, when a chosen woman weeps, it's not because she's overly emotional. It's because she's been entrusted with the divine gift of compassion. Her tears are prophetic. Her pain is intercession. She doesn't cry to collapse. She cries to break chains, for others and for herself. Unprovoked attacks. Chosen women often find themselves under attack, sometimes for no visible reason. It seems like battles come uninvited, storms rise without warning. But the truth is, light attracts darkness. Before her crown is placed, hell tries to sabotage her. In Matthew 5:11, Jesus said, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me." These attacks aren't signs of weakness. They're proof of spiritual weight, just as Mary's. Yes to God provoked Herod's wrath. Your obedience to God provokes hell's resistance. You're not being attacked because you're failing. You're being attacked because you're dangerous. The enemy sees your potential. He knows the damage you'll do to darkness if you ever fully realize who you are. So he strikes early, hoping to discourage, delay, or destroy. But what he doesn't understand is that every hit you take just makes you stronger, sharper, more anointed. Misunderstood and isolated, she can be in a room full of people and still feel alone. She can be praised by many, but still feel unseen. That's the paradox of a chosen woman. Like Jesus, who often withdrew to lonely places to pray, Luke 5:16, she too finds herself drawn into solitude. Like Hagar in the wilderness, she encounters El Roy, the God who sees. When everyone else overlooks her, heaven locks eyes with her. When people misunderstand her silence, God hears the roar in her spirit. Isolation isn't always rejection. It's often incubation. In the hidden place, she's being prepared. Her identity is being rooted. Her voice is being refined. God hides her not to hurt her, but to heal her. The silence isn't punishment, it's strategy. Like Moses in Midian, David in caves, and Jesus in the wilderness, her solitude is sacred training ground. What the world calls loneliness, heaven calls intimacy. She grows in the dark. Most people fear darkness, but she has learned to thrive in it. Like seeds buried underground, she grows where no one can see. Ruth gleaned in obscurity before she was honored in destiny. Joseph was forgotten in prison before he was promoted to the palace. She understands that visibility doesn't equal value. God does his best work in hidden places, when no one applauds, when no one notices, when it feels like all her effort is unseen. She presses on, because she knows she's not buried, she's planted. And in due season, what's been cultivated in private will flourish in public. The dark isn't her enemy, it's her womb. And when she finally breaks through the soil, she doesn't emerge fragile, she emerges unstoppable. Unshakable joy in drought. In Habakkuk 3:17-18, the prophet declares, "Though the fig tree doesn't bud, yet I will rejoice in the Lord." This is the heartbeat of a chosen woman. Her joy isn't rooted in circumstance, it's rooted in the spirit. Even in drought she dances, even in heartbreak she sings. Her joy is not denial, it's defiance. When hell tells her to mourn, she worships. When the world says give up, she leans in. Her joy isn't shallow happiness, it's deep, holy resilience. It confuses the enemy and inspires those around her. This is not a woman who needs ideal conditions to shine. She's radiant even in the storm. Because she knows joy is her strength, her protest, her proclamation that God is still good, even when life is not. The mark of the chosen. Each of these experiences, the ache of divine discontent, the spiritual sensitivity, the unprovoked attacks, the isolation, the hidden growth, the defiant joy are not random. They are markers. They are spiritual fingerprints of a woman who has been set apart. These aren't curses. They are divine endorsements. Heaven recognizes her. Hell fears her. Earth needs her. If you've wept in secret but still worshipped, if your scars burn but your praise still rises, then you carry this mark. You're not just a woman, you're a weapon. You're not just surviving, you're being shaped into someone who can shift atmospheres, destroy strongholds, and walk with authority. You are a living testimony that pain can produce power, that tears can water purpose, that scars can become swords. Closing call to action. If any part of this resonated with you, know this. You're not broken. You're being built. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. You are chosen. And your scars? They are holy. They are proof that you've been through fire and didn't burn, that you've faced giants and kept moving, that God is not done with you. He's just getting started. Type below, I carry the mark. I am chosen. Like, share, and subscribe, because your story is someone else's survival guide. You're not just a woman, you're a weapon.